In Their Mother's Footsteps, written by Mary Wood, read by Annie Aldington. Chapter 1. Edith. London, June 1939. The past gives no peace. As Edith followed the dour-faced sergeant, a chill caused her to shiver. Even though it was summertime, a bitter cold permeated the draughty corridor of Bow Street Police Station. The peeling paint of the exposed brick walls gave an appearance of dilapidation, and added to the feeling of dread that assailed her every time she walked through the huge double doors of the station. Although she worked part-time as a surgeon at Charing Cross Hospital, Edith also provided a free surgery for the poor of the East End of London. It was in this capacity that she was often called upon by the police to medically assess someone who was being kept in custody.
"She's in cell number 1. We can't make head nor tail of what she's saying, and nor will you if you don't speak French."
Edith's stomach turned a somersault at the mention of speaking French. Her legs wobbled beneath her. Swallowing hard, she quashed the emotions that had knocked her off balance for a moment, and made herself concentrate on the task ahead.
"We managed to get her name, and that's all. She's called Leah Bachelet. Otherwise, she just keeps saying Francais, Francais. I'd say she was trying to pull one over on us. Probably thinks she can get away with whatever she's been up to if she pretends not to understand."
"And what has she been up to?"
"By the way she's dressed, she's a prostitute if ever I saw one. One of my bobbies found her scrounging in the waste food container behind a caff."
Edith couldn't detect any compassion in his voice, but she thought the poor girl must have been starving even to consider delving into a rubbish bin for something to eat. When they reached the cell, the clinking of the sergeant's keys dismayed her. "You locked her in? Was that really necessary? She must be scared out of her wits." He didn't answer her. As the heavy door swung open, the stuffy atmosphere of the windowless cell and the stench of stale body odour and urine assaulted Edith. These smells always aroused pity in her for the inmate, no matter what he or she was accused of doing. But as she saw the tiny, almost childlike figure of Leah, she was overwhelmed with a feeling of compassion. Leah stared back at Edith from huge, terror-filled brown eyes that were sunk into darkened sockets. Edith was reminded of a frightened deer standing, unable to move, as the hunters on her family estate in Leicestershire levelled their guns at it. The girl didn't move. She lay in a hunched-up position on a thin mattress that barely covered the brick-built bed. Edith had seen so many girls like her over the years, and all of them had affected her. But there was something heart-rending about this girl. The sergeant spoke roughly to her, gesturing as he did so.
"Get up."
Leah obeyed, cowering away from him. Edith felt an anger rise in her as she saw how the girl's long, thick black hair clung to her head in a damp mass. Water still dripped from the ends of its matted strands. Her ample bosom was streaked with dirt, and was fighting against a wet, too-tight blouse. As Edith was about to protest to the sergeant, she noticed the girl's rounded tummy, stretching her straight black skirt to its limits, and realised that it was possible the girl could be pregnant. Incensed, Edith could hold back her rage no longer. "This is barbaric. How could you leave her like this? She could go down with pneumonia." The sergeant snapped out his defence.
"She's only been in here for half an hour."
Not sure if fear or cold was causing Leah's whole body to tremble, Edith ordered the sergeant to bring towels and blankets at once. As he scurried away, she had to concede that she could see how he had reached his conclusion. Leah was dressed the way a prostitute would dress, even down to a slit in the right-hand side of her skirt, which reached her knee, giving a peek of shapely leg. But to Edith, that was no excuse not to meet a person's basic needs. What if something had delayed her from getting here so quickly? It wasn't always the case that she could immediately answer a call from the many police stations in the area to give a medical assessment of someone who had been detained in a cell. Taking a deep breath, Edith put these concerns to the back of her mind as she tried to face what she knew was going to be an ordeal. French wasn't
Sample complete. Ready to continue?